What? Did we just become best friends?
Yeah!
One is a t-shirt queen, and the other is an SEO and web developing ninja. And both of these squirrels are a little nuts. You're now listening to the More Gooder Ideas podcast, a show for the small business hustlers worldwide, encouraging you to be your most authentic self. This is the place where your whole story matters. Come for the tips and stay for the fun. Now, your hosts, Angie Patterson and Jay Smith.
I think this would be a good time that we get into kind of your professional history.
Sure.
Where you kind of came up as a photographer. I've heard rumors of an Emmy award somewhere.
It's on my mantle next to the cat.
So
we'll get like a still of it and you can pop it in.
Oh, it's
pop it in right here.
Everything. It's going to be on all three of our faces.
Like right here,
right.
you know,
I should be holding it.
You do one of those things where it's the Emmy and then you superimpose Kaitlin's face, so it's just the Emmy talking the whole time.
I mean, selfishly, 2 episodes ago we joined the 1% by being 1% of podcasts that are active that have 20 episodes.
Ooh. I would love to know how many podcasts have
an Emmy Award winner.
Yeah.
Suck at Wine and Crime. We love you. Just kidding.
We do.
We got tired of taking shots at Joe Rogan. He's not paying attention, so we're punching up. But anyway, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about your experience as a photographer.
Sure.
Projects that led to things like an Emmy. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
I'm not up for one anytime soon. So
This podcast will never get an Emmy, so.
hey, dare to dream, kid.
Yeah.
Exactly. You just have to fill out some paperwork. It's fine.
If you want it, get it.
So I have a degree in photojournalism from Western Kentucky University. So
Woo, go Tops.
first started my stint in journalism. That was what I wanted to do. Like, that was me living my dream. I worked at, a handful of different communities, from daily, bi-weekly, tri-weekly newspapers. And like, when someone asks me, sometimes they're like, oh, like, what's your dream job? And I'm so proud to say that, like, well, I did it. Like, it was amazing. I felt like I was making a difference. I felt important, and that was really, really important for me. And then it kind of got to the point where, like, I didn't have a savings account. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was like, oh, I'll cover that meeting because they're going to have snacks at it so I could, like, eat something later. Like,
Wow.
It was crazy how much, like, you don't make as a journalist, and especially in a small town. So eventually I was like, okay, well, I just need to do anything else. And so I got the great opportunity to move back to Louisville, and I worked at a PR firm for a while. And so I had the great opportunity of kind of learning, using my same skills in a different way. And so, you're still telling stories, but you're telling them in a more corporate level, or your niche is way more narrow because you're telling it in the eyes of your client. And so that's where I had the great opportunity to work with the Kentucky Cabinet of Transportation. And so that's where the Emmy came from. So back in July, August, when the flooding came through down in Eastern Kentucky, KYTC was our client. And so I was able to go within the first 4 days to go down there and just start, that story itself is so large. You can take it in so many ways, but we're telling it through the eyes of just KYTC. So just of the, they're the first responders at the end of the day, because they need to get the roads clear, the bridges stable. So that way then the first responders, the police, EMS can get
Food
through.
and supplies, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, during that timeline, I went down there multiple times, myself and some of my coworkers at the time, to really tell that story. And so that's what, where the Emmy came from, was for our coverage of that disaster.
I think that's something that is very unique about you, your kind of specific progression, but also something that a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to is, I may not have done t-shirts before. I may not have made apparel before, but I bring different things that I've learned about business or about customer service or about building relationships with people from all of my different experiences. None of them were dream jobs. But you bring all of those things into your business, and it's really important to not block out those lessons oh, well, that doesn't really relate to photography, so this isn't going to help me. All those little bits really help you when you're building your own brand and your own business. I think that's just an important point to make because
sure.
yes, you still have a camera in hand, but you're doing completely different things, but you're still utilizing those skill sets, you're utilizing those lessons to bring a really professional and unique experience to your customers now.
For sure. You know, I like to say that I can go from butts to abutments, and that joke goes over really well with engineers because an abutment is a part of a bridge.
Right.
But
Very good. Very good.
so like the way that I feel like I can, you know, when in a professional setting, you know, you still need the client, you still need whoever you're taking a headshot of, you still need them to be receptive of you. You need to talk with them. You need to make that connection right away. And that's the same thing up here in the studio. Like your client's about to be half naked in front of you. They have to feel comfortable with you. So there's that where that kind of overlap goes over in both settings. I don't want to say one's professional and one's not because in my mind they both are.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the professionalism of what you do is making people feel like they can do whatever, you know, and you're going to support them in that and also make them look really good doing it.
Yeah.
And I think you can definitely like improve your people skills, if you will. But I don't think you can like learn that from scratch. Like you obviously have that deep down in you, especially from your journalistic background. Like people don't get into journalism to make money. Like you said, it's really a calling for them. So I think you already had that deep down and now you've used all your different experiences to like,
Sure.
boom,
Yeah,
you know?
your creativity mixed with your extensive experience and your skill in the professional world is what drove you to, and I think that's why you're so successful in what you do. Plus, you're always keeping your eyes open and looking for other opportunities, whether or not that's going to financially benefit you right away. And that kind of veers off of the whole hustle culture. Like somebody will watch this and like, oh, well, I'm going to be a boudoir photographer too. I'm going to go take a YouTube class. I'm going to buy a camera, set up, and I'm ready to go because I'm going to have a pool party too.
Yeah.
And there's things that you learn, all these little micro interactions that you've learned over time dealing with people in the professional space and learning your craft and getting a degree in it that you just can't replicate by just deciding you're going to do something.
You know, Jay always talks about you're going to get the most return, whether it be for your business or just for yourself, by like giving what you can give. And I think that's something that you do really well with, what is there a correct term for what you call like your customers or your clients?
A lot of times I call them babes because in my mind you can be a babe at any gender. So everyone can be a babe and feel good about themselves.
Yes, I need to put that on my mirror. Like I was thinking about something you had said earlier when we were talking while Jay was setting up about, 2015 Kaitlin is a completely different person than 2023, which I think most of us can kind of relate to that. But is there anything that happened or what kind of changed with your mindset that kind of let you really break loose with your creativity and your viewpoint?
It was really more so like who I am as a person and how I saw myself, you know, like in high school, you know, I slept with a bra on. I would touch up my makeup before I would go to bed just in case like someone saw me when I was sleeping because I was so uncomfortable in who I was. I didn't wear shorts for a very long time because something in my head told me that like I wasn't worthy of wearing shorts. And now I just take this as kind of how the world was. I do not account this to my mother because she never once told me that I needed to lose weight or that, you know, like if your jeans don't fit, we buy new jeans. And so that I was very thankful for her not having ever put it, you know, negative body issues into my brain. But, so I just was, you know, I was constantly always on a diet, always doing Weight Watchers, just always thinking like, I need to be thinner. When I'm thinner, I will be happy. You know, there's that really awful saying that I think back to that nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. I'm like, blah, I can't believe I used to say that. Like, that's such an awful mentality to have. And, you know,
also completely untrue.
and so, you know, back in 2015, you know, like I was still, you know, actively going to Weight Watchers meetings. And this is not saying that people should not be doing Weight Watchers, but like now for me, like that was not a positive way to be living my life. And so when I started KKP, you know, I was encouraging people to be their true selves, that like, don't worry about how you look, come get your photos done anyway. But I would never have been caught dead with me in my underwear on the internet. And so for about like the first year and a half, like I felt like this huge hypocrite that like I was promoting this lifestyle that I myself wasn't able to live. And so I just kind of started slowly like, well, if those people can do it, why can't I do it? If I can make them feel good, why can't I feel good? And so it kind of like this just something just kind of flipped where it was like, this is what I look like. People will relate to me better if they see that I'm doing the same things that they're doing. Like if I'm practicing what I'm preaching. And so that I wish there was like this aha moment of where I flipped this switch and I was this wild and colorful girl. But like there wasn't. Like there was never, like old Kaitlin would have never been wearing hot dog earrings and wearing bright flashy clothes. And like people tell me all the time how much they love my style. And I love that. And I love getting compliments. Please keep doing it. But that was not me ever before. Like I wanted to blend in. I did not want to stand out. But now I'm to the point in my life where I'm like, I want to stand out. I am me. I am different. I want people to be able to relate to me and embrace that they can be different too. And everyone's beautiful if they are.
Told you not to cry. And I feel like I'm going to cry because I just feel like everybody has that. Maybe it's not your body image. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's, something else, but that's just such a powerful story. And I feel like I still struggle with that. Mm-hmm. And I was the same thing. I'm like, oh, people want to come on the podcast. Like, I don't know about being on camera and I don't really feel comfortable about how I look. And I'm like, oh, look at me. Like I look like a dead body every episode. But then I always look and, and I'll be like, wow, Jay made me look really good.
I didn't
this
do
week.
shit.
Or last week or this week, I don't look that great. Maybe I should have like done something different. Like it's a constant struggle to practice what you preach as far as like confidence. And so that's just such a relatable story. And I'm so glad that you had that kind of progression to feel comfortable being your true self.
People toss around the word body positive. And while I feel like I am, I'm also a very strong believer of the phrase body neutrality, I think is what it's called. And that's where it's okay to not like your body some days. Like I can sit here and be confident, but there are plenty of days where I still think like, oh, if I was a different size, like I would feel better, or I think I would feel better, or I would look better. But so it's okay to not be happy with how you look some days. But it's, you gotta I have to remember that I'm more than just my body. I'm more than that number on the scale. I am an Emmy award-winning photographer. Like there is so much more to me than that. And that's something that I've really had to remind myself and wrap my head around. And it's okay to have days that you're not, you don't have to be supportive of how you look every day. And it's just, you have to remind yourself that there's other good things about you too, and one of the things that I'm very proud of that up here in the studio, we don't do any negative talk. And that's something that Lauren, my hair and makeup artist, and we strive very hard to do. That if someone starts going down a negative route, we turn it around. And even, self-deprecating humor is a big thing in my family and whatnot. But that's also something that, like, I don't want to do in the studio. Because while, if I'm ragging on myself, if that person feels like we look alike, or if that person maybe is bigger than me, my joke about myself, how do you think that makes them feel?
Oh, that's such a really interesting point because it's something I never thought about. Mm-hmm. Coming here is really not only just your relationship building and building that trust, but also really controlling the level of vibes, if you will. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's really interesting that you and Lauren kind of have that mentality of it's not just about doing really great hair and makeup or taking really good pictures. It's about everything that happens while they're here.
I really think that your words matter. So, I think the artist Lucy Dacus, she has this one song where she talks about how her mom says all these negative things about how she looks. But then they also say that I, as her daughter, is a spitting image of her. So, like, that right there would make you think, well, like, oh, if you hate the way your smile is, you probably hate how my smile is, or sometimes my grandma will make an off-the-cuff comment about, like, oh, well, watch out for me and my big fat butt. I know that my pant size are 3 times bigger than hers. So she's not meaning it any mean way whatsoever. Yeah. And I know that deep down, but it's so hard to hear. So it's like I watch my words so strongly because I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or that they're less than someone else. So,
well, you're also organically have grown yourself into an influencer.
Stop.
No, I'm serious. Like
You are.
you've got 200 people showing up to a body positivity pool party. Like it or not, like 5 years ago, you couldn't pull that off because you weren't believing it.
Right.
Right. It wouldn't have been genuine. And now it is. And now it has to be. So now your forward momentum is going to pull you in that. It is. It's going to pull you in that direction. And it leads to things like conversations with Lauren where, that's such deep thinking to say, look, this is a safe space. This is our words matter to these people.
I mean, it's so easy to like make a joke about
sure.
yourself.
We do it,
It's so easy.
Oh, yeah.
We think we're disarming other people by doing it before they can. Yes.
But it's like, you don't realize how much that could affect someone later. So that's why
That's a really good point. No, that's
And you also don't want to give in to their negative thoughts
Exactly.
of like, I find I do this a lot where somebody will be like, oh, you're tiny. And I'm like, well, I'm not tiny. You should have seen what I looked like 10 years ago or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, I never thought about it until just now, but I'm like, what? That's not doing anything to make them feel better, you know?
I started following you when Angie introduced me to
You were the first person I was like, we've got to go interview this chick.
So I'm following your social media, and I sent you a snippet that you had posted, and it's been a while. And I'm like, remind me of this when we talk to Kaitlin.
Thank God he remembered, because I
did.
didn't remember.
I remembered because it was one of the most impactful posts I've ever seen.
Oh my God, I hope it's still up there. Sometimes Instagram makes me
It's
take everything down.
It was just a short video snippet where it was a young woman and she was sitting on the chair and she was doing a pose, and then you went and showed her the camera, and her face just exploded. Like you could tell you had far outstripped her expectations for what today was going to be like.
Yeah.
And that's a memory that memory is so impactful, and those emotions will hit you so hard when you actually, like, confidence just bursts forth. That
I have cold chills again.
Right, you have just massively impacted that person's life, and they're going to remember that moment. Like, I could see it in her face. Like, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm pretty. Like, I'm sexy."
Right.
And it was.
Even at the top of the episode, I'm like, I'm Angie. I never feel sexy Patterson.
See, and I'm over here like, don't say that about yourself.
Yes.
A lot of times you'll see people on Instagram, they'll be like, sorry about how I look. Like, stop apologizing for how you look. This is what you look like. Like, some days you have makeup on, some days you don't. Like, I posted I had those extra Halloween shirts the other day, and I was like, I need to post these on the internet so I can get them sold. I didn't put any makeup on the day, but I made a conscious effort to not say, hey guys, sorry about how I look today. Because, like, why are we apologizing to anyone for how we look? No one should have to see me only with makeup. Like, your eyes can only see me when I look like this. Now, do I feel better when I look like this?
I think you're a Liz Taylor fan.
But do I feel better when I look like how I look right now? Yes, but that doesn't mean I am any less of a person when I don't.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's also your prerogative to be like, this is how I feel best.
Yeah.
Like, I feel much more attractive when my hair is fixed and I have makeup on and stuff, but this is how I feel the best.
Sure.
I'm comfy. I can move, so that's kind of a...
When you might need to do something.
If I need to flip the table over on somebody over here. But there's that kind of, is dichotomy the right word of, and what kind of outweighs what? Is it how you feel? Is it how you look? Maybe it's something to do with how you look. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's interesting.
We were hoping you were going to tell us. It was a great train of thought, though.
They always start off great. That's why I'm saying Jay's a magician.
I know.
Because I watched the episode that comes out today last night. He sent it to me. And I was like, God, I sound so smart. Like, I sound like, I don't even remember saying any of these things. I'm like, it's like AI. Like, replace me with the robot. Because he just cuts he understands where I'm going. He cuts me together really well.
Right. Well, I got to make it engaging.
Yeah.
So
You gotta look like,
main thing I cut out are just pauses and ums and what the fuck was I saying?
which happens.
Which is both of us.
Yeah, quite more often than it's happened today, really.
Well,
so
Yeah.
we're getting
Oh yeah,
there.
no, this has been a fantastic conversation, and it's flowed very, very well.
Well, good. I'm glad.
And I think part of that, just speaking from logistics wise, is because you and I don't know each other at all. So I didn't know anything. So I'm just asking all the stuff. All I know is what I see on social media and the little bit that Angie's told me when she can catch my attention. Very rare.
And we've also brought you up like the last 6 episodes that we've recorded because
Right.
we've been looking forward to coming and doing it.
Yeah.
But we haven't necessarily talked about what we were going to do because we usually work better when we.
Yeah.
fly
Yeah,
off
we
the cuff.
discovered that several episodes. Every now and then we'll like, well, maybe we should structure this more, have some more set questions. It doesn't
So
work.
bad.
It is so bad.
That's
It's
okay.
the real conversations is where the real value is, and I'm so happy that you took the time to talk to us.
Well, thanks for letting
I've
me be
learned so much
here.
today, and you're amazing. Like you are awesome.
You really are. And just to drive the point home for the viewers and the listeners, you know, how important it is to not only be, you know, really great at your craft, but to have that giving soul. If you believe people have souls, I believe people have souls. God, what's wrong with me? That you just give you give to your customers more than what they bargain for, you know, and how important that is, not only for your business, but, you know, just for your own enjoyment of what you're doing.
Sure.
For sure.
And is there anything else that you would want our multi-million worldwide audience to know about KKP that maybe we haven't got to yet?
I always say that anyone can take pictures of you naked, but only so many people can do it well. So if I'm not your photographer, that's completely fine. I'm not the photographer for everyone, and I fully know that. Make sure you find someone that you do vibe with and that does fit good for you, because the stories that hurt my heart the most are when people come up here anxious because they went somewhere else and they had a bad time, and that just hurts my heart.
I'm sure that makes it twice as hard to commit to doing it again.
Oh, for sure.
So, how can people best get in touch with you to engage with KKP Boudoir?
Sure. So we have our website, which is kkpboudoir.com. And then we also have our Facebook, which is the same. And then on Instagram, we're kkp.boudoir, because the man has taken us down 2 times now. So now we're back.
The Matrix.
I hate them.
So yes, please follow us on Instagram. We love our following there. I post about 2 to 3 times a day on there. I try to post in my stories just as much so you can see what's going on in my life. One of my favorite things is every Tuesday, we have Secret Tuesday, where people can post in their anonymous confessions, things they're proud of, things that are spicy, tea, someone else's tea, things they want
I
questions
know what I'm doing
about.
every Tuesday now.
It's so good.
It's one of my favorite things. I can't take credit. Other people have done this before, but one of the things that I just take pride in is my consistency. So every Tuesday, that's what I do. Now, don't get me wrong. Some Tuesdays, it's been a little crazy here lately, but yeah.
You are. And for our other business listeners, you know, just to give you a little bit more non-love bombing in the positive sense of the word, you are very consistent. And that was something that, you know, I really... Well, I'm proud of you because you're my friend, but something I admired about you before we were friends was how consistent, how engaging your content is. And that is something that we'll be talking about in the next couple episodes, is sort of that struggle with social media. So for our other business owners, get your spicy pictures made, but also check out, see what she's doing and take a lesson from that, because
Yes, absolutely. That's it. Yeah. That's why I said your social media is on point.
Thank you.
Like it's consistent. The brand is there. The theme is there. The music flows. I mean, everything, your lighting, your scenes, everything. I know immediately when it hits my feed, it's you. And that doesn't sound like anything special, but it is.
it's very special.
Yeah. Cause if you see my social media, you're like, fuck is he talking about now? Like,
I'm like, is this guy die?
is he outside? Where is he? Is he under the house? What's he doing? He's in it. What?
The thing I always remind people that are trying to like amp up their social media game is that it's not a linear journey for everyone. Like, people are coming into your social at different points. So like, don't ever feel like you're repost the same picture again. Talk about something again, because you're gonna have new followers now. All of your followers weren't here from the beginning, so it's not the same journey for everyone.
That's
That is
hard.
such good advice.
that's true.
Gosh, that is such
And
good advice.
I mean, the people that have been there for a while, they're not gonna care to see it again, or people are gonna forget.
They'll forget, yeah.
You also have to remember, like, just because I posted it doesn't mean you saw it, and we have to remember that too.
Right. You want to take us out?
Thank you so much. I adore you. Jay adores you.
Absolutely.
And I think your insights are really powerful for me as a woman and a mother in a different body than I had a few years ago, but also as a business person. So thank you so much. Thank you, million worldwide viewers. We appreciate you so much. I'm Angie, always sexy Patterson.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Kaitlin.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the More Gooder Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at More Gooder Ideas and search us up on Facebook, the More Gooder Ideas Podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode.